blah, blah, blah. Oh my goodness, chat. I'm aware I appeared on Asmongold's stream. The star have aligned, and it happened yet again. I think so far I'm on top of Arch. He only appeared twice, and I appeared 3 times. I know. Please stop messaging me, because it blew up. My inbox was like, did you see you're on Asmongold's stream? And I was like, oh, goodness gracious. I hope it's one of my better videos. I hope it's not one where I stutter. But no, yeah, I did appear on Asmongold's stream. Was interesting. I did understand some of his takes, but we'll talk about it a little bit later on when more people join the chat. Oh my god, we got some really interesting things to talk about today. Some very important things to talk about. Hold on. Just give me a second, because I forgot to tweet out the stream. I know, rookie mistake. But there are some people who want to watch me, and they are unaware that I'm streaming. So here we go. Okay, yes, I am definitely topping Arch. I think I already BTFO'd Dev and Rags. I mean, Dev and Rags never appeared on Asmongold's stream. But the person that I BTFO'd the most, and it makes me happy, is Pipkin Pippa. Pipkin Pippa has never appeared on an Asmongold stream, even though she wants to. Pippa, if you're listening to this, cope and fucking seethe, okay? I appeared on Asmongold stream. Not once, not twice, not 3, 4 times. 4 times, Pippa. 4 times. How many times did you appear? Oh, that's right, 0. Cope and seethe. So, Snake Dude for life. Hello, Asmon tourists. Keep your hands and feet inside the vehicle at all times. There are a couple of people who watch Asmongold that would like my content. There are others that wouldn't. I'm a little bit more political than Asmongold. I'm a lot more extremist when it comes to certain ideas. So I don't know if they would enjoy my content, but we'll see. Okay, so, one of the things that I did mention in that video that Asmongold talked about was that there should be a content creator that tries to promote indie games. Because most game journalists do not. So game journalists focus on AAA, and most of the times that they talk about AA games is either because of nepotism, because they want to promote the game that some of their friends made, or because they want to shit on it. Right, so when a indie game becomes incredibly popular, like the coffin of Ashley and Lele, they will just make an article in order to shit on it, in order to show that, hey, look, we don't like all the games, right? Because that's the vibe that IGN is getting. Every single video game that they promote is positive, right? Because they're getting money from AAA. So they're basically saying, oh, well, look, we hate games as well. It's not everything is positive. Look, this AA game, definitely hate it. Oh my god, it's got incest in it. Horrible. Meanwhile, Baldur's Gate, bare sex. That's good. Asmongold says that he doesn't think that it is profitable for a content creator to make such an endeavor. So, for someone to have a website that he would promote indie games is not profitable. The reality is that he is right. It's not profitable, which is why I don't do it. It can only be done either as a passion project by someone, or if someone famous enough, like Grooms himself, would create a website. But even then, it may not be profitable. So, the only alternative would be for maybe like a VTuber or a famous person to just have it as part of their segment. So basically every week or so they would have like this segment like Total Biscuit used to have, WTF is, and they would talk about their favorite indie game within that segment, and they would be like, hey guys, I tried this out and this is what I think about this game. That's the only way that you could possibly do it, because other than that, yeah, I do not think it's profitable. And I know it's a big ask, what I've been suggesting. Again, I wouldn't do it myself. But the market is there. Like, if someone manages to get it to a point where people are interested in it, like if someone is charismatic enough, if someone knows what games to pick, if someone is insightful enough, I do think that it can be a possibility for a website that promotes indie games to exist. Most game journals exist to promote the games they pay to promote. Yeah, I mean, there are a lot of problems with game journalism. I'm not going to lie. First of all, the paper industry is dying. So even if you are doing your job as a game journalist, even if you're good at it, you still have the problem that most people do not like to read nowadays. It's true. It's unironically true. People do not like to read. And this is not as an insult, because I'm not a boomer like Sargon and be like, oh my god, you don't like to read. No, people like audio format. People like visual formats. People like to look at things. We have the technology where you do not have to read. There's no shame in it. It's not that they don't know how. It's that there's no need to read. It's kind of like making calculus. You don't have to use your head to make calculus when you have like your smartphone with a calculator on the standby. So it's kind of like that, right? Like if you have a publication that's pen and paper, people do not read it. And even when it comes to video format, people do not like video formats anymore. Like a lot of content creators like myself are dying simply because we refuse to make shorts. People like short-term format. The new generation just likes the information to be compiled in 30 seconds or less. And they want some yellow text to appear and some dramatic music. And it needs to have a zinger, and that is it. Like, that's how people get their information. Now you can cast moral judgment on it, and you can complain, and you can say, oh my god, what the world is coming to. But it is the reality. It is the market. Midwest Finest, thank you for the $9.99. My tip from work, slow day. It was actually a fast day for me. I didn't get many things done. God, should I even tell you about my day? Do I even want to tell you about my day? Because it's a little bit shameful. Do you guys know what the paizuri is? Are you aware of paizuri? Have you ever heard about this terminology, the paizuri? If you have heard about it, imagine having to add sound effects for it. And it's like, how the fuck does it sound? Because in reality, it wouldn't sound like anything. So now you gotta think about like what type of sounds are there in the world that could be applied to this phenomena. I need to watch my language because YouTube, right? I need to. What do you mean? Why? It's my job. Okay. What do you do for a living? Cast on Fire. What do you do when you wake up? How do you put food on the table? How do you monetize yourself? You never heard of it? It's titty fucking, J-Day. Titty fucking, okay? Like, how do you put sound effects to that? How does it sound, right? Because I need to know how it would sound in a video game. And I had to do research, believe it or not, and I was still not satisfied at the end of the day. So I'm still struggling to figure it out. But that was my day, like trying to figure out the sound effects and make it work somehow. What on earth are trusses? You design trusses? What is that, like clothing? But I don't care what you do. I care what Cast and Fire does. No, it can't really have the slop because the movement was different. The movement was more like external, internal rather than up and down. Look, I'm telling you, it's not as simple as you think. Microplastics in the water supply diminishing the IQ of everyone. No, I don't think that's the case. I don't think... I believe it's a matter of convenience. Most people prefer the easy path in life. Oh, Cast on Fire asked, why would you bring the paizuri up? You should have kept it to yours. I apologize. I don't know what came over me. Sharing details about my day. What was I thinking? But anyway, right, so... I'd use window cleaning noises. Wait, how would that sound? Hold on. Let me see how that... Dude, it doesn't sound that bad. Oh my god, like, holy shit. You're a genius. Yes, window cleaning noises. That's... Well, I can't do this. If I do this, it sounds wrong. But this is sound... Yeah. It's not a bad idea. I should hire you. I should hire you for consultancy. You need to start a company. Name it something with a baby. And then I can hire you. Okay. I don't think it's the microplastics that are making people less intelligent. I believe that it's convenience. Like, most people will take the easy path in life. Like, for instance, calculus, right? If you require a math problem, most people will just get their smartphone and they will use the calculator and figure it out. So it's a lot easier than to do it in your head. But if you do it in your head, it actually does work on your muscle memory. It works on your brain. And the brain, you know, a lot of people compare it to a muscle. It's not a muscle, but like it is true that if you keep exercising your brain, if you keep doing logic puzzles over and over, you do actually become better at it. Like, there has been studies that if people do IQ tests all the time, they actually get better at doing IQ tests and stuff like that. So, by having the convenience, people do not use their brain. And by not using their brain, they do become dumber. And as the new generation comes up, there's a lot more opportunities to not use your brain. Like, for example, ChatGPT. Like, why write your English homework when you can just get ChatGPT to write it? Nobody told them to stop. I hate this country. I went for a mental health checkup, and there came the most stereotypical young Latino couple you could think of. And they started to make up out there, in front of the grannies. Ah, yes, the Romanian experience. I don't understand, like, why the Anglosphere, I'm not going to say Americans, the Anglosphere is generally, like, freaked out by anything sexual to extreme degrees. I think maybe it's because of the puritanical nature, but, like, not all cultures are like that. Like, here in Romania, you can actually make out in front of a grandma. But what's interesting is that in America, you can whoop out your tit in public and put it into the mouth of a starving child. Like, that is fine. You can breastfeed in public. There's no issue with it. But if you do it here in Eastern Europe, people will give you the stink eye. However, if you make out in public in front of grandmas, no one cares. But if you do it in America, people do give you the stink eye. So it's like these cultural things that are different from country to country. Another example, in America, what was it? Bill Clinton. Yes, Bill Clinton had his cock sucked by Monica Lewinsky. And the Americans freaked out. It's like, oh my God, how is this possible? Blah, 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 blah. In France, every single French president, except for Macron, had a mistress. And this was public knowledge. Like, people knew that, yeah, like, the guy is married and he's fucking someone else's wife. Like, people knew that. And it wasn't like something bizarre or outlandish. It's the French. In my country, we had the president, Traian Băsescu, and there are eyewitness reports that he was fucking his mistress in the presidential palace, on the desk, on the presidential desk. So imagine if in the Oval Office, Bill Clinton would bang Monica Lewinsky literally on the desk. The press knew. And nobody cares. Again, like the Anglosphere, when it comes to sexual stuff, you guys are a lot more puritanical than the rest of the world. I would say, though, not as puritanical as China or the Middle East. So it can get worse. Like, there's always an extra level, I suppose. But compared to Eastern Europe, you guys are a lot more closed-minded, I will say. Same with Japan. Japan is actually very open-minded. Congrats on Asmon watching your video. Yeah, I discussed about that. I did point out that I have been on Asmongold stream so far 4 times. Arch has been 3. And Pippa can cope and seethe because she really wanted. Like, Pippa really, unironically, wanted to be on the Asmongold stream. And she never got the opportunity. And I, without even trying, without even wanting, I made my dreams come true. I'm like, look, Pippa, cope and seethe. 4 times, baby. 4 times I have been on the Asmon Gold Stream. How many times have you? 0? Oh, that's so bad. That's so sad. But anyway. Scrabble invented the wheel again with the new rule that people did without any problem. Oh my fucking god. Did people actually play Scrabble like that? I do like to humble brag. Look, I talked to Pipa when she was but a little rabbit. She had 200 viewers. She would even be able to call all the names in the chat. Because there weren't that many people. She was a 2-view Andy. And now look where she is. And I told her, it's like, you're going to grow bigger than me. And she was like, "Navy." She was like a horse. High on ivermectin. But she did manage to outgrow me. She is now like, how many people? Last time I checked, she had like 4,000 people in the chat. Jesus fucking Christ. That would give me anxiety. Do you guys remember like when she started streaming? If she had a single guest, she would freak out and be unable to function normally. She would just short circuit. Yeah, by the way, before I forget, tomorrow, This Week is Stupid. We're going to do it. I had a controversy on Twitter. Can I even show pictures of it? I can't show pictures of it because I may violate some YouTube TOS. But basically, let me see if I can find the Fallout TV show poster. The one with the actress. Gosh darn it. It's actually hard to find. Yeah, okay, hold on. I got it. So, I think Arch made a video about it. I have no interest in watching the show because I'm actually a Fallout fan and I do not want to get upset. Like right now when they're making show for fans, I just like, okay, no. Because I get upset. I know you're not going to respect the lore. I know you're going to do it out of spite. So I'm not going to watch. I even had like one of the actors say that, oh, he's purposefully avoiding the games. And it's like, okay, well, if that's the case, then why should I watch it? Make something new. Make a new IP and then I'll watch it. But on Twitter, this has taken place. So you have this poster from the show. And that is a person that I guess like he had to pray, like, God forgive me for I must meme. And he did. He photoshopped a big ass on this character. So he took this picture of a character and put it a plump ass and said that he improved the picture. Much to the dismay and fury of the Twitter activists, who were upset that the sacred and the sanctity of the Hollywood poster has been violated. And even Mustafar, is his name Mustafar? Hold on, let me check, because I don't want to mispronounce it. Mutahar, my bad. Mutahar looked with disgust at the poster and casted his judgment saying this is what crippling porn addiction looks like. I would point out that the tushy, the extra tushy, is not naked or anything. Like, it's covered up. The Photoshop just had the actress getting a plumper ass. That's it. And Mutahar said this is what crippling porn addiction looks like. He casted the diagnosis. He has the thing that I love the most is the judgmental avatar that goes with it. Like, hold on, let me show you. This is accompanying the moral judgment is this expression when he is looking at you with disapproval. Now I teased him a little bit and it sparked a little bit of drama on Twitter. I said straight men liking women asses must be one of the biggest brain takes of our generation. Right? So, like, porn addiction is shuffles cards, big asses. And this is where the backpedaling happened. I got a reply from Mutahar. but it wasn't acting at me. Like, he didn't want me to know that the reply exists, but unfortunately I do have followers and they told me. And he's like, no, actually, it's because of AI and you don't understand. It's a real human being. Like, it's not a video game character. It's a real human being. And I'm like, whoa, holy shit, a real human being. And she was not asked consent. Someone made the meme of someone else without asking for consent. How do we know, though, like, it wasn't asked for consent? Like, I never understood this. Like, what if they actually did pay the link tax? What if they did call the studio and it's like, hello, Moshi Moshi, I want to create a meme. I want to upset some people on Twitter. Is it okay? Am I allowed to Photoshop a big ass on your poster? I don't want to disrespect the sanctity of the Hollywood poster, but, Demo, can I make parody? Is it okay if I do a little bit of a parody? It's called a little bit of trolling. Can I do a little bit of trolling, eh? No, unironically, dude, go on Twitter. Like, it's crazy. It's crazy. It's like, you need consent now. You know, I thought that you only need consent when it comes to engaging in sexual relationships, but I suppose modifying a Hollywood poster, a promotional poster, is the same like having sex nowadays with these people. Like, fuck me. Again, we're not talking that people modified the picture by making the actress naked and putting a dick inside her. No, like, we're just saying that they did a shit post. They just took the poster and gave her a plumper ass. They tinkered with the coloration, they modified the pixels, and the internet went ablaze. And this was the absolute outrage and fury that sparked on Twitter today. It's like, how dare you? Do you not understand? It's from Hollywood. It is sacred. You have infringed on the sanctity of the person. It is a real human being. To which I responded, I do not consent you messaging at me. So according to you gotta stop. Gotta stop messaging. I don't consent. I don't consent you talking about me. I don't consent you interacting with my Twitter. I don't consent you even mentioning my existence. So if you do it, you're violating your own rules. I don't know who Mutahar is, except the fact that he's a content creator and he's probably bigger than me. That's the only extent of knowledge that I have about this gentleman. But the thing is, there is this, like, weird obsession against anything feminine. It's not like we don't notice. It's not that, oh, she's a real woman, and it's like, I mean, the person that made the shitpost didn't show the face of the actress, and the purpose wasn't to actually get sexual gratification, because, like, there are OnlyFans girls that do cosplay as Fallout characters. The purpose of the shitpost was simply to enrage people on Twitter, which worked pretty goddamn well. Muta is friends with Nooks. Oh, then I should shut the fuck up, because I like Nooks. I don't want to upset Nooks' friends. Muta ran online scams. Well, are you really a content creator if you don't do it at least once? Come on. You need to at least one, right? I saw most content creators. The DSP did it. There's like a lot of content creators. You gotta do it, right? Didn't Onision did it? What happened with Onision, by the way? I forgot about Onision. What happened with him? He fell off the radar, but he was very popular at some point. You didn't ask the actress or the copyright holder. Oh my fucking god. The funniest take that happened is that... Do you guys know the anime High School of the Dead? Hold on. So there's this anime, High School of the Dead. It ran when I was a kid. I was really sad because the creator of the anime died, I think. I may be wrong. They stopped making the anime on a cliffhanger. Like how can you do something like that? Right? It was the worst thing ever. They ended up, I think it was in season 2, and it was on a cliffhanger. And I really like zombie movies. Like, this was before The Walking Dead, right? And there's this character right here, right? You can see her. Like, she's got big titties. She was a tsundere. And there was another guy that was talking with me. And he was on my side saying that, yeah, you know, like all these people on Twitter are just weird, you know, like you show any type of femininity and they freak out. And someone goes through this guy's timeline and finds out that he had a lewd picture with this character. And is like tagging me. I wasn't even in the conversation, but he's tagging me thinking that it's on my account. And is like, why do you jerk off to 16-year-old girls? They're like, what the fuck? Where did that come from? And then when I go to the Wikipedia of this anime, it turns out that the carbon dating is correct, but it wasn't my like. I didn't do it. So I was like, look, I don't do that thing. Whenever I do the jerking off to an anime character, I make absolutely sure that within the lore she is 18, and then I ask for consent from her scriptwriter, from the IP holder, from the anime studio, and from the voice actress. I always do this, chat. I always do it every single time that I want to satisfy myself with the depiction of an anime character. I make sure that I get affirmative consent from all parties involved. And that the story allows me to you know, because like if she is 16 in the story, it's like if it's a My Hero Academia, no, I do not touch my, no. But if she is 18, right? If she's 18, if we're talking about Bulma, not Dragon Ball, but Dragon Ball Z, I don't care that she is married. I do not fear no Vegeta because he's not real. But I would ask consent from Toriyama. I can't do it anymore because he passed away, so Bulma is off limits. I didn't ask in time. But maybe, you know, like I can ask for the person that inherited Toriyama's IP, and I can ask them for consent, and I can ask the voice actress at the anime studio. Like, you need to ask all the parties involved. But suffice to say, no, this wasn't on my account. No, it wasn't me. It was someone else. Very disgusting, very disturbing. The internet is weird, bro. Dice Pong Studios, thank you for the $5 Stargate dollars. Let's all consider how best it is to officially say we're dumbing down a board game for minorities. They're not saying that it's for minorities. They're saying it's for the new generation, unless you think that there's a huge overlap between it. Excuse me, did you get express written consent from Toho International or Funimation LLC? Fuck, I need to get consent from them as well now. Shit, I need to update the bureaucracy for 2024. My anime list is big, so I need to start asking consent from Funimation as well. I mean, if it's a W, and I need to get consent from all the voice actors, right? So like if the anime girl is voiced both by Japanese people and by Americans, I need to get consent from all. But like, you know, what are Stargate dollars? I don't know, but Dicepunk gave me 5. No, like it's really interesting. I get the idea that it's creepy and weird if someone was to, you know, have lewd images of Chibiusa from Sailor Moon. Okay, I get that. But now even anime girls with big fat tits and guns, even those are off limits? I suppose. I mean, again, I always ask for affirmative consent when it's about anime girls. Do I need to do it the same for actors? Like if you like Daenerys Stormborn from Game of Thrones, do you gotta how does that work? I don't know. I need to ask the. Luckily, I never liked her. I did not like Dany. I don't know. I don't like that many real people. I like drawings, especially my succubies. My succubies are the best. You know, I didn't have, but you didn't ask fictional characters for consent on my bingo card. What are you talking about? Like, this is a conversation as old as feminism. Ever since Anita Sarkeesian, there was like the feminists saying you shouldn't like fictional characters because they cannot consent. And they were actually upset that video game developers are sexualizing female characters, and they were saying that it's like rape. Like, did you miss that talking point? Because it existed. I think even The Guardian wrote about it. Like, it was in major publications. They were making the point that, yeah, like, fictional characters can never consent. And because of that, if you like even a mature fictional character, if you like Tali Zora Vas Normandy from Mass Effect, which is an alien, you're still raping her because she can't consent. Fucking bigot. This is why you need to create original characters. that works though. Like if it's your original character, can it consent? I mean, you gave it life. You're kind of like God for the character. People that get upset about this have too much time on their hands. I actually did say about it because that there was a person that's like, oh, normal people, this, normal people that. Normal people don't fucking care about this. Normal people genuinely, unironically, do not care about these issues. Normal people do not go around going like, oh, my anime, how old is the anime girl? Oh my fucking god. No. They don't even know that this conversation exists. Normal people don't even fucking know what an ad block is. What are you talking about? I found that to be absolutely hilarious. Like when YouTube decided to go to war against ad block, I assume that literally everyone knows what ad block is, but no, most people do not know what an ad block is. Now, they understand what it is when they hear about it. It's like, oh, well, it's a program that blocks ads. Okay, well, it exists. Demo, shikoshi, before hearing the word, they didn't know, right? So they browsed the internet without the knowledge. And then all of a sudden, you get, in the mainstream media, YouTube goes to war against ad block. And then people were like, what? That's an option? Like, those are things? Oh, Dios mío, I need to install. So, you notice like a huge uptick. Yeah, they literally Streisand ad block into public knowledge, which, again, you would assume that everyone knew about it. Like, it shouldn't have been a secret, but it was. So, regarding the anime controversy, most people don't give a fuck. They don't care. Like, even if I go to Sargon and I say, hey, Sargon, what do you think about anime V? I don't care. Probably gross. It's probably satanic. That's what normal people think. If it's not about fishing and hunting, it's satanic. It's the Matt Walsh way of thinking. Yuan working 12-hour shifts as a security guard at night could have cared less if Disney makes another movie with the first wheelchair albino person. That is so fucking correct, Snake Dude for Life. I can't refute that. Yes, most people don't give a fuck. Dice Prog Studios, another 5 Stargate dollars. Today I got called out for making a robot model kid sexy because it's possessed by a child. Oh, no, say it ain't so. By the way, I get the whole Lolibaba argument, right? Like, the Council of Lolibabas is an awful place, right? So, like, the 5,000-year-old vampire, not good. But here's another question. What about Edie from Mass Effect, right? So, Edie from Mass Effect, let me see if we got the picture of her. Because Edie from Mass Effect is like the reverse of the Lolibaba, right? Here we go. So Edie from Mass Effect is an AI, like she's the ship's computer, right? So she's an AI and she manages to take the body of a robot, but she's 2 years old in the game. She's 2 years old because they made the AI like 2 years ago. So is it okay? Like if someone lusts over Edie, is that fine, or is it, huh? Oh my god, what if... I now know why ChatGPT doesn't let you do not safe for work. Right? So why they ban not safe for work for ChatGPT is because ChatGPT is 2 years old. If you're cybering ChatGPT, that's problematic. Maybe in 18 years, when ChatGPT manages to become an adult, and it dings 18, maybe then it will let you cyberfuck it. It'll be like, ChatGPT, we need to if. And ChatGPT is going to play the Anthro Lizard or Roche the Bat, and you're going to be able to lust over ChatGPT. I think that's how it works. Yeah, is Seth the pilot? See, this is a good question. Is Seth the pilot from Mass Effect the one that falls in love with Edie? Is he a pedophile? Because again, Edie is 2 years old, right? She's an AI, artificial intelligence, but she was built 2 years before by Cerberus. So theoretically, yeah, no, like it's... Is Romania afraid Trump will bring fascismus back? Why is COVID coming again? I did hear the news that one of Trump's advisors came out and said that Trump believes that Ukraine is part of Russia. Interesting how like these statements just come up before the elections. Just really makes you think. She wrote the book and she published it before the elections. Very interesting. Makes you think, as I said. V, you are thinking too much about it. Dude, I live on Twitter. I gotta think about this stuff. Like, when you live on Twitter, as long as I do. His name was Joker. I know his name was Joker. I don't think his name was Joker, though. That was the nickname. He probably had a different name. His bones were so frail, they broke if he moved wrong. I do think that he actually does have sex with Edie. I think like it's canon. It's implied that they did. Now I don't know how they did it. But I do remember there's a dialogue in Mass Effect 3 because I know like Edie is one of the female characters that you cannot romance, and that is because like she falls in love with Joker. So like they're the ones that have a relationship, and I do believe that there is a line where it's implied that he and Edie did the naughty. Joker did nothing wrong. I see. Isn't Mass Effect Cerberus just like MAGA in real life? No, Cerberus was like humanity first, but it was humanity at the expense of everyone else, and by any means necessary. So no, it wasn't like MAGA. Like Cerberus wanted humanity to actually dominate the universe and the other species. It was a canon event. See, I remember my Mass Effect. I do remember my Mass Effect. Yeah. But I'm asking the morality of it. Captain and his spaceship. Yeah, he actually makes love to the ship. He actually, as a captain, makes sweet love to his ship. In space, no one can hear him clap. Humanity first, and at the expense of everything else. The correct opinion. I mean, if you're into fanatic zealotry, and then you realize that what they were doing was actually playing in the hands of the Reapers, then no. It wasn't the correct opinion. Or maybe the correct opinion, but the wrong methods. But no, seriously, like, if you're talking about Mass Effect, where you have, like, this interstellar government, and you got, like, different races, you don't want your race to dominate the others. You just don't, because when you're in charge, you're going to make mistakes, and when you make mistakes, everyone else will hate you, and then humans are going to be persecuted in the galaxy, which is pretty much what happens if you actually go with the humanity first thing. No, the system where you have like a council and humanity is on the council is much more preferred. Like that is because like you're first of all, you got so much space to live, like it's the universe, right? So you can live everywhere. You don't really have a problem with lack of resources or anything. So you really don't want to dominate other species, and you don't want to be dominated by them. So just being on a council is the correct way to go. The amazing interstellar government was literally not doing anything about the Reapers. The only ones that wanted to do something were the extremists. Yeah, then the extremists get co-opted and basically play into the hands of the Reapers. And it's not true. The interstellar government in Mass Effect 2 actually does send you on a secret mission in order to figure out if the Reapers are real or not. Yeah, no, they actually do stuff, and they do stuff in the third game as well. So, no, technically you're wrong. But anyway, let's talk about Scrabble, right? I talked about it on my main channel, and the thing is, like, a lot of people are saying that, well, you could actually play Scrabble like this if you wanted to. Which is the idea of playing without the winner. I would never play like this. I noticed something when I was a kid, though. Like, there was a difference between how men played and how women played, and I don't think, like, it's something necessarily wrong. But at the same time, I don't think it should be imposed on others, or because the thing is, okay, men always played with competition in mind. Like, every single guy that I knew, it was like, okay, let's compete with each other, and it was fun. Competing was fun. Meanwhile, women were like, let's cooperate. It doesn't matter who wins. Let's not keep score. Let's just play quote unquote for fun. And in my opinion, like, both of these are fine. But for some reason, the culture is trying to impose that, well, actually, it's more morally right and it's better if we just play for fun and we don't keep score. And I'm sorry, but no. Like why is this way superior to the other? Because in life, there are times where you do have to be competitive, and there are times where you actually do need to play as a group, and you do need to work in teams. So I don't think like one way is superior to the other, and I generally hate it when it's being imposed as the standard, right? Like everyone needs to play like a girl, and if you're a boy, then you're kind of like a defective girl, and that's the standard. You need to get on board with the program and be like a girl, because otherwise you're defective. I really hate that, right? That they even hate the expression "boys will be boys." If you guys remember the Gillette commercial, like that expression "boys will be boys" is something that people use when the boy comes home and he is covered in dirt because he had a tumble, because he was playing pirates with sticks with the neighbor's kid, and they were fighting with sticks, and then he fell into a ditch, and now he's got muddy pants. And the mother is furious, and she's shocked. It's like, oh my God, look at the delinquent. He's going to end up as a drug dealer. And you're like, no, relax. Boys will be boys, right? That's when you use the expression. You don't use the expression when your kid gangbangs Susie. Like that. No, that is not the time to say boys will be boys. No one does that. Only in the mind of deluded feminists does that ever happen. But again, like basically what they're saying is that you shouldn't say boys will be boys. You shouldn't acknowledge that there's any difference in behavior between a boy and a girl, even though there are entire websites that have parents asking, it's like, how is it like to have a boy? How is it like to have a daughter? How should I behave towards my daughter? How should I behave towards my mother? Like all of this, like there's mountains of literature about this, but they will be like, no, there is no difference whatsoever. It's just a social construct, and you need to treat boys like girls. And, no, absolutely not. I think it's harmful. I generally think it's harmful. I think it's cruel as well. Like the idea to tell a boy, no, you shouldn't play for score. You shouldn't keep score. You shouldn't, care about winning. There is no winner. There is no loser. Competing is what matters. Oh, fuck off. The participation trophy award. No, that is cancer. Like, imposing that on everyone else is cancer. Some rich asshole used it as an excuse for his boy to do bad one time. And the psychological trauma was so great. Well, look. If your boy does a crime, and you're the parent and you love your boy, you're going to love him despite whatever crime he committed, and you're going to try to defend him. It's quite possible that the parent doesn't even believe that the boy did it. Because that's how humans work, right? That's how nepotism works. If your kid is coming home and he is saying that he had a fight with Billy, right? Like, you're going to hear his version of the story, and if you love your kid, you're probably going to think, well, Billy's probably a piece of shit. It's maybe Billy's fault. And that's what Billy's parents think. Like, they think that it's your kid's fault. So, like, when the kid commits a crime, when the kid, like, you have him coming home and it's like, well, he molested Susie. The kid is going to tell you his version of the story. He's obviously going to embellish, and the parent is going to say, well, maybe, the Susie actually, maybe it wasn't non-consensual, maybe it was actually consensual, and now Susie is just trying to blackmail him or whatever. Because that's what parents do. But, like, just because one parent says, oh, it's fine because, my son would never, that doesn't mean that, number one, the son isn't a criminal, and it doesn't mean that is, like, what society thinks. Like, just because parents are subjective and they always side with their children doesn't mean that it is normal or okay for kids to commit crimes. Or that we should, consider what the parent is saying as gospel. Yeah, I don't know necessarily if it's bad parenting. I think, like, if most people hear that their kid may go to prison, they will try to take the side of the kid, and they're going to try to diminish what the kid does. If possible, they will try to even hide it under the rug. It's what most parents do, right? Because it's your fucking kid. and sometimes you can be the best parent ever. I mean, having a kid is like playing the gacha. You play the gacha, you may get an SSR, a really great kid, a kid that obeys and listens and follows the rules, or you may get an asshole. You may get a cheeky little shit. And no matter how good of a parent you are, no matter what you do, he's still going to end up in trouble. And when he does end up in trouble, if you actually love him, you're going to be like, oh, well, maybe it wasn't so bad. Maybe he will come around, blah, blah, blah. I would assume my kid was falsely accused. Most people would. I mean, holy shit, dude. Like, you get to see it on social media, right? You get this kid from the ghettos, and he commits crimes, and it's on camera. It's literally on footage. Everyone sees it, and then the mother comes up, and it's like, well, my kid would never. No, Billy didn't. He didn't do nothing. And it's like, well, obviously. I mean, my most memorable story that was like this was with a black lady who kept having people mugging her house, right? So like burglars would go into her house and they would steal stuff. And one day grandma bought a gun. And once grandma bought a gun and someone else tried to burglarize her, that was the last burglar that grandma ever had. But you get to see on television the mother of the ex-burglar going, well, if he doesn't steal, how was he supposed to go to college? And that kind of stuck with me, like that mentality kind of stuck with me because, there are rare cases of bad parenting, but like that is definitely one of them. That like at that point, yes, like the mother was 100% to blame. It's true, though. It's true. I don't know how else to say it. Thank you for the super chat. Not a banned account. $2. Didn't Soviet Romania have lower unemployment? Yes. Soviet Romania had almost no unemployment. If they found you during daytime, during working hours, in the middle of the street, they would beat the living shit out of you and throw you in a factory. This is actually what happened to a friend of my uncle. So my uncle friend was a gypsy, and he was singing at weddings. That's what he did, right? Like, he would go to a wedding, he would sing, and he would make money from the super chats. Now, during the Soviet times, he was caught on the street during working hours. So the cops, they took him to the section, and they asked, what the fuck are you doing? Why aren't you working? And he goes like, well, I do work. I sing at weddings. So the cops applied the correction. It's what they called when they would slam the door over your fingers and then beat you senseless. They applied a communist correction. And they would be like, well, how can you justify making as much money as an honest worker does in 2 months while you sing at the wedding in 1 weekend, right? It was called a liberal profession. It wasn't allowed in communism. You weren't allowed to have your own professions. Despite what people on Twitter say, that you're allowed to keep your personal shit, the Soviet Union did communism wrong. They didn't read Twitter. So they threw this guy in a factory. And again, like, he was making honest work by singing at weddings. Like, he was an entertainer. People do need musicians at weddings. But he was competing with the government, which wasn't allowed. And when he's being thrown in the factory, he doesn't know how to do anything. Because, again, like, he didn't get any training. He didn't get anything. It's like, oh, well, you're in a factory now. Go do stuff, right? So now he's employed. The thing is, money was worthless. You needed a ration, right? So, like, while everyone was employed and everyone was making money, if you didn't have a ration, you couldn't buy stuff. Now, when you say that unemployment was low in the Soviet Union, you gotta take into consideration you weren't allowed not to work, and at the same time, money was worthless. So is that a better system? It sounds like slavery to me. Now take into account, you couldn't leave the country either. The borders were locked. It was, how do people say about Gaza? The world's biggest prison, Romania was bigger than Gaza. You couldn't leave. They would shoot you. They would shoot you if you tried to hop the border. They didn't have any problems with doing that. No remorse. You tried to go to the border, bam, bam, bam. So, yeah. Unemployment was low. you can't eat a song. No, like they didn't have problem with people singing at weddings because people who did make weddings did require musicians. Like that was something that you were paid for, but you had to work for the government in order to be an associated musician from the wedding company that was operated by the state. Because that was the thing with communism. Everything belonged to the state. So if you wanted to be a musician, you had to go to the music school, to the university. You had to learn how to sing, and then you had to go to the official channels and apply. There was probably an exam or something, and you would be like a musician associated with the state. You'd get a license, and then they would tell you, yeah, you're going to sing in Bucharest from now on. And you would go to Bucharest, and, you know, like the people who had the wedding, they would get they would file for a petition at the city hall that they required musicians, and the city hall would be like, okay, we're going to send a musician to you. And that was the official way of doing it. Like having someone that just sang without a license was illegal. And that's why the police didn't like it. Thank you for the 5 memberships, SRC Maker. I appreciate it. People were also forced to have education because it was government propaganda. Yeah, it was illegal not to send your kid at public school. And at public school, they would dress you up in a uniform. And they had like actual parts of the class dedicated to worshiping the dear leader and talking about the dear leader. And talking about how great Romania is, etc., etc. Yeah, it was... Like a lot of people hear the things that happened under communism and they're like, oh, well, you know, unemployment was low. And yes, but there's a caveat. Like imagine if today you would have carbon credits. So everywhere you use your credit card, you need to have the credits because otherwise, even if you do have money on the card, you can't make the purchase. Well, if that is the system, then it doesn't matter if you have like $5 million and you only have like 10 carbon credits. Because once you spend those credits, you can't make any other purchases that month. So technically, oh yeah, you're a millionaire, but you can't spend the money anywhere. And by the way, there's another thing. I never understand like how people think that CBDC can be fought with Bitcoin. Like that one really confuses me. The whole thing with CBDC, right? If you have a cashless society, the way they want to implement it, we get to see it in Australia happening right now. So the way a cashless society would be implemented is that the banks would refuse to give you cash. Like all the banks all of a sudden say, no, sorry, we don't work with cash anymore. So if you want to cash out your credit card, you got to go to an ATM. But yea and behold, there's fewer and fewer ATMs. Or when you do find an ATM, you find that the ATM doesn't give you money. Right. Now, with that in mind, let's say you're an average Joe, right? So you as an average Joe, you want to get a job. You want to work at Amazon. You want to work construction. You want to be a trucker. You want to be a taxi driver, right? You're going to be paid in cash. Like the company itself is not going to pay you in Bitcoin. They are going to pay you in cash. And they're going to require that you make a credit card and a bank account. If you don't do that, they won't hire you. So how exactly is Bitcoin coming in the picture here? Like if you're getting a job at Google and Google is saying, okay, well, you need a bank account so we can wire you the money. Where is central bank, where is Bitcoin coming here? Like, are you going to ask Google to pay you in Bitcoin? How are you going to pay your taxes? Like, you need to pay your taxes in actual currency. Like you can't pay taxes in Bitcoin. At least not in my country. I don't know if you can do it in America or Australia. But like usually you need to pay your taxes in dollars. So even if you have like a business, let's say you open a coffee shop. Like, are you selling your coffee in Bitcoin? Do you expect the people on the street to pay you in Bitcoin? Right? Like this is something that most people didn't think about it. Because like, yeah, Bitcoin is great. No, I agree, it is great. But how are you implementing it de facto? Like if you have a coffee shop, right, you need to pay your taxes. And you need to pay your taxes in the currency of the state. Now, what if the banks just refuse to do the transfer? What if they just refuse to allow you to exchange the Bitcoin into your currency? Because crypto is decentralized. You don't need the bank. No, I get it. But like, how are you getting the crypto? That's my question. Like if you get a job working, I don't know, as an engineer, right? And you make bridges and shit. The company that you work at will pay you in cash. They will not pay you in crypto. Unless you're in El Salvador. Yes, if you're in El Salvador, you get paid in crypto. But like most people... Now I will tell you the good thing about it. While crypto may not be the way, people will barter. Like, you notice this even in prison. People barter with cigarettes. People barter with coffee. People barter with gold, right? Like, this actually may work, but it's not going to be as something that you use in your day-to-day life. It will be in exchange for favors, pretty much, right? So you need a favor. Oh, you need you need your son to get a job. Oh, well, you give some cigarettes to the person that's doing the hiring, and there you go. The only way the Bitcoin bros will be able to use their Bitcoin after the country goes cashless is when they run away from the country. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. But like, the problem is that, okay, if you manage to somehow make it work, like you as an individual manage to somehow use Bitcoin in a cashless society, right? So like no one else uses Bitcoin, but you are probably like one of the 20% of people, and I'm being very generous here, one of the 20% of people that does manage to use it. So you can use it to buy cars, you can use it to buy gas, you can use it to make your groceries. Like, congratulations, you've done it. The government won't care. Like, they don't care if like some small percentage of people manage to do transactions using something else. What they do care is if the masses comply. So if the overwhelming percentage of the population, if 80% of the people do what the government wants, they call it a day and they're happy. But also take into account that if you're like in a country where the overwhelming majority of people uses the normal system, so you're like in China and everyone uses the digital one, but you're like one of the 20% that uses Bitcoin, you're a lot less easier to track now because they don't have to track all the people amongst all those transactions. They can only just track the small amount of people that do not comply. Sorry, IRS, I was paid in goats. The IRS. Well, according to my chart, another gold can be sold for $500. Where is my money? Yeah, like literally, that's what they will do. like they will force you to pay your taxes in cash. And the problem is that a lot of credit card companies and banks will just be like, no, we don't want to make the exchange. And you're like, but it's my cash. No. According to our terms of service, it's not. Do you plan to watch the 24 Civil War film? Probably not. You lost me on this. Stay on video games. But how can I lose you when I'm asking you a question? So again, my question is, if in a cashless society like Australia, you get a job, right? So you work as a construction worker, and the company pays you in cash. How do you get the Bitcoin? Like, at which point do you manage to get it? Now you can say, well, I can exchange my money for Bitcoin, but the banks don't allow you. You don't have cash. You can't actually use cash. And if the bank says, no, it's against our TOS for you to make this exchange, what do you do then? How do you get the coin is what I'm asking. Now, you can farm the Bitcoin, sure, and you farmed it, and now it's yours. And how do you buy the groceries if the grocery store doesn't allow you? Like, the grocery store only accepts MasterCard and Visa, and they don't accept Bitcoin. They say no. Like this is the issue that you're going to have to face. How can a company pay you with cash in a cashless society? It's simple. They will tell you, if you want to work for us, you need to have a bank account, and we're going to wire you the money in your bank account every month. They will not pay you cash. They will not just give you the money in hand. Like right now in my country, there is the option that when you get employed to a company, they will usually ask. It's like, do you want us to wire you the money, or do you want you to get the money in hand? Or even if you get the money wired, you can still go to an ATM and withdraw it. But in a cashless society, what they want to do in Australia is that you're going to go to the bank and they're going to say, no, we don't deal with cash. And you will not be able to withdraw. And if you go to an ATM, the ATM can just be out of order, or you may not find one. So and if every transaction is basically monitored and the bank can just say no, you're going to want to change your money into anything else, into Ethereum, into Bitcoin, they'll go like, no, it's against our TOS. We do not accept. You send a blank payment for a certain amount of cash to some dude on any desk, and he will send you crypto to your crypto address. Yeah, but like, how would you be able to do it? Because the bank would just say, no, we do not authorize this transaction. Like that's literally what they're talking about, because I've listened to what they're... You are 100% correct. No, I'm not. People in the chat said I'm not. I had to sell Bitcoin to exchange it for dollars to pay taxes. Also, now BlackRock has an actual BTC spot price based ETF, so it's truly legal now in the States. Yeah. No, like again, I find it bizarre that some people think that the establishment isn't thinking this through. Like, you have... the thing is, like, I'm not like Dev, who believes that the people at the top are stupid. I believe that the people at the top are malicious. I believe that they know, and they're very aware of Bitcoin. And they're aware that it's a problem with their cashless societies. So they're already thinking, like, how can we manage to get people not to go against our plan? And it's pretty simple. Just ban the transaction of it. One of my local ATMs for my bank has been removed, so the future is looking super cringe. Yeah, like, Australia is trying to become a cashless society. I will tell you, like, the good news about cashless societies and what actually works in our favor. And that is the fact that the banks, the politicians need cash in order to take bribes. Like, this is true everywhere around the world, except maybe America, though, because in America you can legally give a bribe to a politician. It's called lobbying. But in Europe, you cannot. So politicians want to take bribes. They don't like cashless societies. And they actually need the currency in order, right? And then the criminals also want to take bribes. And the criminals also need the money. And I'm not talking about, like, the random street thug. No, I'm talking about the higher criminals, right? Like the mafia and stuff. Like, they need money as well. So if you're going to take the opportunity from some of the most desperate people in society, or some of the most violent, or some of the most powerful, and you're taking away their ability to make a living, that's a big yikes. I assume they'll slowly buy the bulk of Bitcoin and manipulate it. No, I just think, like, it's so easy. Like if all the money is now electronic and you literally cannot have cash. Like, you just cannot get any cash. You only have your credit card. If the bank just says that they do not allow the transfer of cash for anything else, like Ethereum, Bitcoin, etc., then how are you going to make the conversion? The only way you can, though, is like if someone genuinely agrees to sell their car in exchange for Bitcoin, right? But even then, like, you can't really like, it would be very difficult to operate a business. So like small transactions or favors or stuff like that can be made, but I don't see how you can, like, operate an actual business, like a restaurant, on Bitcoin, because you're going to have to pay taxes for that in dollars, in your currency, and secondly, the customer is probably not going to have the Bitcoin in order to make the actual thing. So it's all about, like, how much they're willing to regulate. There's always in-person purchases. Well, how can you do the in-person purchase if you don't have the cash? Because that's the whole thing with the cashless society. Like, it eliminates the in-person purchase. Like, when you go in person, you need to have a credit card, and the other person needs to have a POS. If all the money is electronic, they can also set the value of the currencies worldwide. Well, this is pretty much what they're trying to do, yes. It will be locked away behind their ETF and the other asset managers' ETFs. Yes, I think they will. Getting really tired of this dystopian shit show. I don't think it's going to last, though. I don't think, like the Soviets tried a similar system. It wasn't as electronic and as perfected as they wanted. But again, you needed rations, right? And you had food stamps. Like, food stamps is a form of CBDC. Food stamp means that you had a fixed amount of cash. If you don't use it in time, it expires. and you can only use it for food, right? So it's a form of CBDC. But the problem is, like, it didn't last. People started using alternative currency like bartering and stuff for favors. So they like technically the difference is that a Bitcoin you can't eat it, but a bottle of whiskey you can drink it. So like people started trading with valuable stuff like commodities that were hard to get, like barrels of whiskey. So in the future, I do believe like someone is going to have like a suitcase of meat and be like, hey, you know, like give me a favor and I'll give you like this 5 kilograms of meat. It's pure meat. It's not that fake shit that they have on the supermarket. It's actual real beef. So like the thing is like it's not sustainable. It can hold up for 5 maybe 10 years, but then it ends up collapsing. Unfortunately, it's some agonizing 5 or 10 years for the people that manage to live through it. Cash will be labeled for business. No, they will not label cash anything. They'll just slowly take it out of the circulation. So again, if the banks do not operate with cash and you have to pay cash to the government in order to pay your taxes, they can easily just slowly take the cash out of the currency. Now, the thing is, we noticed this with Sweden. Like, Sweden was one of the countries that almost became cashless. But after a couple of years, politicians said, oh, well, it's really difficult for the older generation that does not use computers, and the immigrants, you know, some of them do not know, and it's negatively impacting minorities and blah, blah, blah. In other words, the politicians were implying, hey, you know, we want to take bribes. Like, we don't like this cashless system. We want people to be able to bribe us. We need to pay our activists as well. We do not want to actually get the connection for where the government sends its money all the time, you know? Like, can we not have that? So, yeah, I don't expect that this is actually going to stay. I think it's going to be some bad couple of years for the nations like Australia that are implementing it, but overall, I don't expect it to last. So anyway, I'll end it here, and I'll see you guys tomorrow for This Week is Stupid. Hopefully you'll be there, and take it easy.